When it comes to the debate of the beauty community and the beauty community on YouTube and brands that are closing down, I bet you, just like me, have heard a couple of these phrases floating around. People are just not that interested in beauty anymore. People are buying less makeup. That's why brands are failing. That's why brands are closing. That's why people are not watching beauty content on YouTube. But the truth is that the beauty community, well, the makeup industry, the beauty industry has never been bigger than it is right now. They are breaking sale records year upon year upon year, and they are projected to be even bigger in 2024 than they were in 2023. So that clearly cannot be the reason. People are buying as much beauty, if not more, than they ever have before. And even though beauty YouTube is maybe not garnering the kind of views that they used to back in the heydays, 2015, 2016, 2017, we all remember, the beauty community on TikTok is thriving. And the brands that are breaking through in TikTok and having their sales through TikTok Shop, they're always talking about how good they're doing. So what's the actual truth? Like, what is really going on? I'm gonna be getting ready, doing my makeup, while we talk a little bit about the beauty community, where we are at, where we are going, and what I think for the future. And I also want to speculate a little bit in like, what do I think could be the reason to like why everything is the way that it is. The beauty industry did take a hit in 2020 when the world was ever more uncertain than it ever has. But already in 2021, they were surpassing pre-COVID numbers. So clearly people were not tired of beauty or tired of makeup. We were just living in an uncertain time. So things were just a little bit rocky. I will leave some of the sources to some of the things that I'm talking about down below in case you want to read up a little bit more and read the same articles as I read. One of the segments that is growing the fastest is actually prestige beauty, which to me is a little interesting because the loud voices that we hear about prestige makeup is that people think that beauty is already too expensive and people were like, you know, wanting to drugstore prices to drop a little bit. But as it shows, maybe the brands are actually onto something because the prestige market is the market that is growing the fastest by a long shot. And as predicted, the segment that is growing the fastest is no longer skincare, it is fragrance. And I talked about that a while ago, that I was suspecting that fragrance was going to be the new skincare. And as you've probably seen, a lot of creators have shifted their focus towards fragrance instead. A lot of creators have done fragrance channels or starting doing fragrance videos. And a lot of people have incorporated fragrances within their content. And it might not only be because that is what people are looking for, that is what people are searching for, but it might also be that since that is a segment that people are extra interested in, it might also attract better AdSense or better sponsorships when it comes to creators. And also it might be easier to get people to click your links and actually buy something if you are doing content on the things that people are the most interested in right now. And let's be honest, fragrance is the new skincare, as skincare used to be the new makeup. So why are some brands failing then if the makeup industry is booming the way that it is? Well, a lot of things in the behavior that people shop for makeup has changed. Just take e-commerce. E-commerce has quadrupled in less than a decade and is now the biggest sale channel out there. So more people are buying their makeup online right now than they are in specialty stores such as Ulta and Sephora's. And this has led the way for a lot of independent brands that before didn't really have the means to get a grip on the market because they weren't able to get into retailers. But now because the consumers online, it has given them an opportunity. We're talking like indie brands to really bloom and blossom. And you have probably seen a lot of indie brands actually blow up this last decade because they have been able to access the consumer pool due to the consumer pool actually being where they are, which is online. But I do think that we are going to see a change in that as well, because some indie brands are now trying to get into brick and mortar, some not doing as good a job as others. Just look at what happened to Suva Beauty. They got into Morphe stores, Morphe went bankrupt, and now Suva Beauty is closed. But we've also seen some more legacy brands trying to establish themselves in the e-commerce sphere, trying to just secure their presence online after decades and decades and decades of not really having to because of the big presence that they have had in specialty stores and department stores. And of course, when change is coming, there are going to be some brands that get it and there are going to be some brands that just don't and fall off. And I think it's very easy to be forgotten when the competition is so incredibly harsh, because even though we are buying more makeup or more beauty products than we ever had, I don't have numbers for this, but I am guessing that there has never been as much things available to choose from as there is right now. I just remember when I started doing my new makeup releases on YouTube, I didn't even do them every week. I talked about maybe 7 products each week. And now I am able to do a segment about new makeup releases every week. And there is always products that I don't bring up because I already have a full episode. There's already too many things to talk about. And this oversaturation, of course, is going to lead to consumers having to choose between different releases in a way that they didn't really have to do before. Because back in the early 2010s, where people were starting to get into e-commerce and buy a lot of stuff, there wasn't really that many things being released. When I started reviewing indie makeup, there was maybe a palette every 4 months to review. There was nothing to review. There was nothing to buy. But that's not really the case anymore. Now there are so many things to choose from, and the competition is cutthroat. And we will look at the brands that have closed down and the reasons that the brands are giving as to why they closed down. It all comes down to the same thing. The reason why they closed down at the end of the day is almost always that when it came down to it, they were not able to attract as many customers as they needed, and customers chose to buy from someone else than from them. Some brands just get to be forgotten, like Boscia. Some brands are having problems with investors, like Jaclyn Cosmetics. Some brands disappear because they're not keeping up with the times. There are so many reasons why a brand can disappear, but it all comes down to, at the end of the day, they were not attracting enough customers. And I think that right now we have more options than we have customers, and it's inevitable that some brands are going to fail, because even though we are buying more beauty than ever, we can't buy all of it. And I think right now, where we are right now with beauty, I think the brands that are the most prone to maybe closing down is brands that just weren't keeping up with the times and that quite honestly have been forgotten. We always speculate like, oh, what brand's gonna go next? What is the brand that's gonna go? But it's probably gonna be the brand that you don't think about, the brand you forgot about, the brand that maybe had a popular product a decade ago, but now you can't even remember them. Even when you try to think of them, you can't really think of them. That's probably the next brand to go. And this is not gonna be the end of it. And I think we have started to see now with like Beauty Bakery and JD Glow and Suba Beauty, now we're starting to see indie brands as well fail, and it is easier to keep an indie brand afloat because usually they don't have as much overhead cost as maybe a brick and mortar brand does that sign contract of how many products they're going to be delivering and stuff like that. Usually with an indie brand, it's much easier to scale down and recover and like relaunch. But I think we are going to see some brands it just fall to the wayside because of maybe overcommitting in how much product they are ordering, stock that's just sitting. The way it always is with some of these brands, when you see sales all the time, that's also going to make some people question, how is this brand really doing? How come some beauty YouTubers are saying goodbye to the platform and moving on to other places? How come they are saying, and a lot of beauty YouTubers, I would say bigger ones, smaller ones, huge ones, micro, macro, like all of the different kinds, are saying that beauty on YouTube just isn't the way it used to be? How come that is when the industry is booming as it is and so many people are interested in beauty and there are just more things to choose from than ever? Because I've seen Jackie Aina talking about that she has not been feeling YouTube as of late. Also recently, Tati did a video where she was talking about the fact that she was just not gonna do as much YouTube. She was even calling it goodbye, but I don't think she meant goodbye. I think she more meant this is gonna not maybe be my main platform for a bit. I watched the video and a bunch of the stuff that she says in the video, even though the video itself was very, very clickbaity, was actually true. And one of the main things is that people are just not showing up for the kind of content that beauty YouTubers from 2015, 16, 17, which is honestly me too, the content that we're used to doing. It's not the kind of content that most people that watch beauty on internet, on like social media, is like really interested in seeing. I'm saying most, maybe not you specifically, but the bulk of the people. Because in 2015, 2016, 2017, if you had a new release and you were one of the first people online to showcase that new release, oh boy, were you in for a lot of views. And nowadays, people are just, in most cases, not that interested in any single release. No single release is interesting enough for people to be like looking for a video, actively searching for a video. They might look at it if you have it. Oh my god, this was very pigmented. I was using the darker blush in the Adept and Amy. It was very, very pigmented. They might look at it. Wait, I was not prepared for that. Okay. They might look at it if they see it popping up on their front page. Oh, actually, I am interested in this release, which means that if you are the first one in a new release, more people might be interested in that, but you're not getting the views you used to be. I was one of the first people that put up a video on the Urban Decay, the Cyber palette that they had. 80,000 views. If I put up a video about a new Urban Decay palette today, there is no 80,000 views waiting for me, even if I am the first one. Nobody really cares, at least not enough to click on a video like that. They want something fast. They'll click on it on Instagram or on TikTok. They might be interested in giving you 3 minutes. You get the bullet points, you get the cliff notes, you get the elevator pitch. That's what people are looking for now. They're not looking for the dedicated, really thorough reviews. They're looking for the elevator pitch. Yay or nay? Should I buy it? Show me some swatches. Yay or nay? Let's move on. Let's look at the next one. So when reviews have moved from the super detailed reviews that was back then into the elevator pitch, a lot of content creators, such as myself, have noticed that what people actually want to see is videos where you are doing the elevator pitch, but with a bunch of products all at once. So instead of seeing 20 minutes of that palette, they want to see 20 minutes with 15 different products. Get to the point, get there fast. We have places to be. Let me get a lip on because I found a new muted red that I'm very excited about. This is the new lip formula from Nabla. The blurred lips. Look at this muted red. So pretty. Pink cheeks, red lips, and now I'm gonna do a coral over here. Eye look. It'll be okay. One of the things that have changed with like YouTube and the beauty sphere on YouTube is that YouTube is no longer putting the exact same type of ads on beauty content as they used to do. And this could be a mix of the advertisers no longer wanting to be on beauty content, which honestly, after like all the stuff that beauty content creators have pulled on YouTube, I don't blame them. Between the Dramageddon and like all the weird stuff that's happened in the beauty community, listen, I do not blame them. But right now on YouTube, you get paid a lot less per 1,000 views than you used to a couple of years ago. So beauty content creators that are getting approximately the same amount of views as they used to a couple of years ago are not getting paid the same amount of money. Like your paycheck has shrunk. It doesn't always like correlate. And with that being said, bigger content creators, I'm talking like the people that are in the 500,000, maybe even 300,000 and higher, they will probably not get the bulk of their money from views, even though they're getting usually even more views. They will get the bulk of their money through sponsorships. And since some of the advertisers, like I said, are moving from beauty content on YouTube, or some of the advertisers are moving even from YouTube to other platforms, especially TikTok right now, it doesn't really matter how many views you're getting here or how many subscribers you have on YouTube if you're not getting the same kind of opportunities on this platform as you used to. There are big content creators that are probably getting paid more than $10,000 for a deal of a sponsorship. And if that all of a sudden disappears because they are on the wrong platform, clearly they're going to move to another platform. That's how they're paying their mortgage, I guess, so I don't blame them. But YouTube is bigger than it's ever been. It's not that people are not watching YouTube anymore. It is that people are not watching beauty as much as they used to. And when they watch beauty, they're not necessarily looking for the same kind of content as they used to back in the day. And a lot of segments that are getting more money per 1,000 views right now is podcasts. And you have probably seen quite a lot of podcasts being started by people that used to do other things, and it might be because they're super interested in podcasts, but it might also be because that is one of the new hot ways of making content. And of course, the marketing budget is going to probably lean a little heavier into that. But there are plenty of beauty content creators on this platform that are getting great views, really great views. So saying that the whole industry is dying or that nobody is watching beauty on YouTube just really isn't true. It's just that sometimes people actually do get tired of some content creator, which is perfectly fine. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch exactly the same kind of creators now as I did when I got on the platform. And also, a lot of creators that are getting a lot of views right now is doing the kind of content that people really want to see. They want to see deep dives in brands. They want to see behind the scenes. They want to see the gossip. They want to hear the tea. They want to see videos with more products together in one video. They want to see trends. They want to see the bigger picture. They're not necessarily interested in deep dives in the one product. I mean, do you remember reviewers used to talk about cost per gram? They used to do deep dive analysis into like ingredients and stuff. People are still interested in those things, but they're just interested in them in a different way. You just have to package the information in a way that suits 2024, because people are not interested in the same thing now as they used to before. And that is the same with the whole beauty market. That's what I said about the oversaturation as well. The kind of products that made some brands really popular in a decade ago is just not going to fly off the shelves now, because people have moved on and they always want to see something new and fresh. Even if you re-release an old formula in a new name, that's gonna sell easier than just trying to promote that old product. But that doesn't mean that dedicated reviews or straight up tutorials don't exist anymore. They just exist on other platforms, because like I said, people are not interested in you deep diving into a 15-minute tutorial. That's just not going to fly on YouTube anymore, especially if you name it tutorial. You have to be very smart with your marketing, and you have had to build up your channel as being a dedicated tutorial channel to get a video to do really well on the platform right now like that. But sometimes if I put up a tutorial that's 60 seconds on Instagram, I can get 40,000 views. I don't even get that on my normal videos here. So I don't blame people for putting it on different platforms like TikTok or on Instagram. Some tutorials or reviews or first impressions that I put on other platforms get more views on those platforms, even though this is my biggest platform. And it's because that kind of content just isn't as popular here right now as it is on other platforms. Because like I told you before, people are not interested in hearing the full spiel. They want the bullet points, they want the elevator pitch, and sometimes they do be coming back to a YouTube video to hear like a review roundup or like what's best at Sephora, and they might be hearing a couple of more points than the elevator pitch, but they just don't want to see a full video on it. And I'm not saying you personally, again, I'm saying the bulk of people, what they're interested in right now. And again, this might switch. This might change. Again, when I started on YouTube, people wanted to see tutorials, and then people wanted to see dedicated videos on the new launches. They were super interested in that. Even if they weren't interested in the launch, they wanted to see the new things. Then we had an era of people wanting to see rankings of everything. And now people just want to hear the tea about the brands, or they want you to talk about what's new at Sephora right now, what's new at the drugstore right now, what is best, what to skip. They want you to talk about the hyped up product and either talk them into it or talk them out of it. So even though some brands are closing down and we might think that like nobody is buying beauty products anymore, the industry is slowing down, people are not that interested, It is more, like I said, an oversaturation of an industry where, quite honestly, some have to go. There are too many right now, and the ones that people are the least interested in is just gonna fall to the wayside. Because again, if we look at some of the brands that are really popular on TikTok right now, such as Glamlight, BK Beauty, Made by Mitchell, P. Louise, they are often talking about how well they're doing on TikTok, how many thousands and thousands and thousands of units they are selling in the TikTok shop. And again, like I said before, if TikTok is where the creators are, of course, this is also where the brands are going to be, and this is also where the audience is right now. I mean, I have my own brand. It's called Cinch Beauty. It is the, right now we have brushes, the one you see here. Even I have a TikTok shop, even though I personally am not super active on TikTok. You kind of have to be where the audience is. And I do have a TikTok shop, and if you have Cinch Beauty brushes, you can tag. You don't have to be part of our affiliate program. You can tag Cinch Beauty brushes, and you do get a small kickback if somebody purchases through your link, even if you're not a creator, even if you're not part of the creator program. And this is something that a lot of brands will do, and it has shown very successful for quite a lot of brands. And it's easy sometimes to think like, oh, where is the industry going when we're seeing some of these brands close down? But it's going forward. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just that you see new brands opening every week. We talk about new brands several times a month in my new makeup releases. Clearly, we can't have that influx of new brands if we don't have some that disappear. And I think that we forget that sometimes. I think that there are brands that have closed that I don't want to say we don't know about it, but we haven't thought about it because these are brands that we quite honestly totally forgot about. And in a couple of years, we're going to be like, oh, what happened to XYZ brand? And we're going to realize they closed 5 years ago. And I would not be surprised if there are several brands out there that is the case with. So where are we at right now? Like, what is happening then? Where are we going? And I wanted to actually, something that I saw when Tati did her goodbye video, even though it was a little clickbaity, was that she was saying, if you like something, you have to support it. And I do agree with her, even though I don't necessarily agree with some things that she said in her video. She does have a point with, if you don't want beauty YouTube to disappear, if you don't want your favorite creator to disappear, the best thing you can do, you don't have to support them monetarily, you don't have to buy anything to support anyone, but to watch someone's videos, to click a like on their videos, to leave a comment, to share the video. Sharing is one of the ways that YouTube is like, oh, this video is really popping off. That is a way to show the algorithm that this is a creator that I want to have success. This is a creator that I want YouTube, the algorithm, to recommend. But also the opposite. Don't click on things that you don't want to see. If there's a creator that you really used to like and they're no longer doing the kind of content that you want to see, don't click on it just because like your time is valuable too. And we all have places to be and stuff to do. So you shouldn't have to sympathy watch someone because you like feel sorry for them. If they're not doing the kind of content that you want to see, there's no need in looking at it, especially like hate watching if there's someone that you don't like. Again, life is short. There are so many good things that you could be doing. But you don't have to feel like, oh, I need to shop through someone's links or I have to be using someone's code to supporting them. The best thing you can do is watching someone's video to the end, leaving a comment, or even just pressing like on the video. It goes so much further than you think. It really tells the YouTube algorithm, I enjoyed this video, I think you should show it to more. I mean, I am definitely one of the people that have switched up my content on this platform several times during my almost 9 years here, which, I mean, I think is pretty normal. I think most people, even at like a normal job or even at a hobby that you have, sometimes your interest change or your position in a job change or what you prefer to do changes, and there's like nothing wrong with that. I used to do a lot of videos that was very like I would sit down and I would be like, oh, what should I film about? And I just like go through my drawers and find something. I really, really like preparing a little bit more for videos nowadays than I used to. And I think that also shows in my content being a little bit more organized and maybe a little bit more, I don't know, well thought through, or like at least have some kind of a thought behind it. And also buying one new release and making a video on that one, or just digging through your PR and making a dedicated video on something you got in PR, it doesn't really require that much planning or thought. But doing a video of several different releases and trying to see correlations between them, trends, trying to see what could work for other people, and trying several products out for a longer time and coming back and talking about them, it requires a little bit more planning, it requires a little bit more coordination, it just takes something else. And like doing the video like this, I was looking through a lot of articles and I decided on a couple of articles that I really liked that I will link down below, where I was reading about the beauty industry, where it's at, where it's heading, and also combining that with some things that I have noticed myself on this platform, and also things that I have read about other platforms such as TikTok. And I think that for me, and I can only speak for myself, but in order for me to keep being interested in something for a really long time, I do need to watch it through different perspectives. So I don't blame content creators for being like, I need a break from YouTube, I'm gonna go where the new things are happening over at TikTok and just try something else and do something else. Because that is one thing that I also got from the video with Tati. She was saying that doing a TikTok video usually doesn't require as much planning. You can just pick up your phone and just film something. You don't need to think about audio, you don't need to think about editing or anything like that. People just like whatever. But when it comes to YouTube videos, people do be liking stuff that is a little bit more well produced. They want to see some b-roll, they want to see some pop-ups. There are just a lot of more things that go in to producing a long form video than it is to perform a short form video from someone that has done both. And I will say on TikTok, my videos that have done the best, both on TikTok and on Instagram, are the videos that I've quite honestly put the least amount of thought into. And I will say the opposite on YouTube. The videos that have done the best for me on YouTube are the ones that I have put the most thought into. My palette rankings, my palette declutters, the videos where I have tried products for a full year for me to get back to you and let you know these were the best of the best. And it's just not the same on other platforms. So I also don't blame people for wanting to be like, oh, I wanted to do some more lighthearted, not as advanced kind of content and still get the same amount of views and maybe still get the same kind of sponsorship opportunities and income. I don't blame people at all, because sometimes this is a very time-consuming job. Not hard, but time consuming. I just wanted to give my take on all the things that have been happening on the beauty community the past couple of years, with brands starting to close, creators moving platform, creators speaking up about the beauty community, and people in the comments even more and more saying, the reason why this is happening is because people are buying less stuff, people are less interested in makeup, people are less interested in beauty. And I just want to back this up with the numbers and say that I don't think that that is the problem, but I do think that the oversaturation of the market and the way that people are moving into reviewing more and more products in every video, because we're right now in the Mr. Beast era of YouTube where you can't just be talking about one product. It has to be every product at Sephora. It has to be every launch this year. It has to be, I reviewed every lipstick at Sephora. I tried every foundation at Ulta. I have looked through every indie release this year. That is what people want to see. I'm not blaming Mr. Beast. I'm just saying that that is how this platform is right now. And also because of the segment that is moving the quickest right now, the one that's growing the quickest is fragrance, and especially body sprays. I think the numbers were that body sprays had like tripled the last year or something. I'm telling you, this is what we're seeing. And like I said, prestige makeup is the one that's growing quicker than more affordable makeup, and especially lip products, and especially lip balms and lip oils. Do you think there's a coincidence why we're seeing so many body sprays or why we're seeing so many lip balms on the market? Absolutely not. It is because That is what consumers are buying. That is what consumers are interested in. And of course, brands are going to move accordingly. And if brands are moving where the customers are, of course, creators are going to move where the viewers are. And right now, the beauty community, if you want to do tutorials, if you want to do reviews, it is a much better community over TikTok to do those. Is it more trustworthy? I would say no. I think that TikTok right now are going through the growing pains that the beauty community had back in the days when things were like not really, like sponsorships were not declared properly and people were saying absolutely anything to get on the good graces of brands. I think that people are keeping it maybe a little bit more real over on YouTube. They're daring maybe to say exactly what they think, maybe also because they're getting paid for their views, which they are not on TikTok. I just wanted to make this video saying that it is not that people are not interested in beauty anymore. It is not that people are not buying beauty anymore. It is that it's just too oversaturated and that the market is just looking very different right now than it did before. People are interested in other kind of products, other kind of content. And if I'm going to be totally honest, the advertisers on YouTube right now are more interested in podcasts than they are in makeup tutorial. So clearly, if this is your income, if this is your job, a lot of people are just going to move into that. I did my look. I really enjoy how this is looking. If you're interested in any of the things, I will put it down in the description box because I realized I didn't really talk about the makeup that much. But if you like any of this, you can always check what I used in the description box. I hope you liked the video. If you do like the video, maybe leave a comment, maybe leave a thumbs up. It really does help. If you really enjoy the video, sharing a video is the best way to show the algorithm that this is a video that you want to like more people to see. And also if you want to see more stuff from me, makeup reviews, tutorials, but also chatty videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you again really, really soon in a new video. Bye!